Alright guys, welcome back to another Multiversal Conquest, and I got another fun one for you. And this time around I get to talk about another game series that I don't really get to talk about, and I'm going to be, get to that in a moment. But yeah, as you can see, Mandalore, you know, the Mandalorians from Star Wars versus the Krogans from Mass Effect. Yes, I actually get to talk about, I don't get to talk about Mass Effect often, so let's see how this goes. So, for this scenario, let's talk about the Mandalorians first. So the Mandalorians, as we all know, are a race of warriors who originate from the planet Mandalore. And they basically are a race that are like more like, it's not a race, it's not so much a race as it is a creed. A creed of warriors who are trained from a young age to be the ultimate fighters or bounty hunters in the galaxy. Now, the Mandalorians have a code, they have training, they have weaponry. That's the big thing, is that each Mandalorian is a walking arsenal. That's the one thing you really have to take into account, is that the Mandalorians are a single Mandalorian is a walking arsenal. You know, he or she is covered in weapons, flamethrowers, missiles, wrist blades, projectile weapons, a vibroblade, and all of that is covered in a Beskar armor. Armor so powerful that it can deflect the lightsaber blades of a Jedi. Just the lightsabers of a Jedi. These guys are no joke. They have fought the Republic, they have fought the Jedi in the past, but for this time around, we're going to say, like, this is an era, I guess you could say, like, I would say, like, this is a Mandalore that is, yeah, I'd say Old Republic Mandalore for it. So we have, you know, more united clans. That's the big thing, is that Mandalore usually has clans warring among itself, but during this time, during the Old Republic, the Mandalorians were kind of united under the Mandalore, of Mandalore the Great. So you have all these united clans all standing together and all fighting as a united front. So that's the big thing you have to look at. But Mandalore are not without their ships. They don't have like a massive war. The Mandalorians don't have like a massive war fleet. They have more like smaller ships that are more, like I said, for the Skrulls, more like for hit and run operations. Mandalorians prefer to be on the ground fighting. They prefer to be like on boots on the ground kind of fighting. And the same can be said for their opponents, the Krogans. So the Krogans from Mass Effect are also a race of warrior creatures who are a race of warriors who are made up of different clans that were all united under Urdnot Rex from Clan Urdnot. So Rex is basically he is the leader. He is the clan leader of all the other united clans after the events of Mass Effect 1. Krogans are basically these large, huge reptilian creatures with just this massive, indomitable strength and massive durability. They also carry weaponry that is close range. They don't really do the whole sniper thing. They don't do the whole far away thing. If a Krogan's going to fight you, they prefer to fight you, head on. They prefer to take on their opponents in a head-on kind of scenario. They prefer to get in your face and, beat you to death on their own terms. That's their big thing, is that they love, and I do stress, love to beat the ever-loving shit out of their opponents with their bare hands. They have taken on the Rachni, which are these race of insectoid beings that nearly wiped out the galaxy had it not been for the Krogans. They've taken on the Turians, they've taken on the Asari, they've taken on the human race. These guys have fought multiple opponents and have nearly come out on top, except for one thing, and that's the genophage. So the genophage was this virus that infected Krogans and more or less caused Krogans to stop breeding with one another. Like, they can't breed, so they're becoming an endangered species. And that's a major factor when you look into this. even with, now that we're going past Mass Effect 3, the Krogans are still like they're still a species still trying to put their shit together. They are still, whereas the Mandalorians are, don't have a problem with breeding. They can get along just fine, or even adopt people into their clans. So that's something you have to look at. Is that the Krogans have a X amount of Krogans on their side. Mandalorians don't have that problem. Now, the other big thing is that could a Krogan weapon pierce Beskar armor? That's something you really have to look at in this scenario, is that Mandalorian Beskar armor is tough. It is, like I said, it can block a lightsaber blade. So, could anything the Krogans have stop that? That's a tough thing to look at when the Mandalorians have just some of the most indestructible armor. That doesn't mean they're indestructible, I should say. They are not this race of indestructible beings. They can be killed. They can be beaten down. They can be killed. So that's something you have to look at in this scenario, is that Mandalorians, while they are tough, a single Mandalorian or an army of Mandalorians are tough, they are not invincible. Remember, the Galactic Republic beat them along with the Jedi. They had to get backing from the Sith Empire to be any real threat. So keep that in mind. And Krogans, on the other hand, while they are, don't have they're still trying to get their species back in order. The big thing you have to look at is that the Krogans are a tough species. They are a race that have taken on the worst in the galaxy and are feared more often than not. They are warriors through and through, and they have some explosive weaponry. Their ships, on the other hand, while they are big and vast and have some serious firepower to them, much like with the Mandalorians, Krogans prefer to not so much fight on a ship, they prefer to go down on the planet and beat you to death with your own arm. They will rip off your own arm and beat you to death with it. That's kind of how the Krogan do. So this is a tough one. This is going to come down to how, Krogans can take a lot of punishment. They can, they have serious firepower. But on the other hand, Mandalorians, like I said earlier, a single Mandalorian is a walking arsenal. Imagine an army of that, along with some really tough armor and kids who are trained from birth to be warriors. That's another factor. Krogans are also are from birth warriors themselves. So this is a tough one. This is a real serious tough. This would be a serious full-on war between the two races. This would be tough. This would be bloody. But I think I might slightly give it to the Mandalorians. The Mandalorians, just because they don't have the problem of being an endangered species. They are a race that can easily just come up and beat the shit out of you and have soldiers to spare. But I have no doubt in my mind the Krogans would definitely give them a run for their money. But you guys tell me in the comments below, who do you think would come out on top in this war? Do you think it would be the Mandalorians, or do you think it'd be the Krogan? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.